this tunnel is probably not familiar to you. This is actually our first time seeing a tunnel here for the Daytona Supercross track, designed by Ricky Carmichael, of course, who has been doing it for the last 13 years. And this year's Supercross is particularly special because it's the 50th anniversary for the Daytona Supercross. So we will see remarks from not only the riders in this year's competition, but we will also hear from previous champions from previous decades before in honor of the 50th anniversary. So stay tuned right here at FloridaNationalNews.com. This is Melissa Thomas coming to you from Daytona International Speedway.
The racetrack design now in 2020 is very modern because of the nature of this event being the track being built in the tri-oval here of Daytona International Speedway. It's so different than what every other Supercross race is on the actual Monster Energy Supercross Championship, where the events are inside of Major League ballparks. So where this race lands in the schedule, the importance of this event, it's a real gauge for who probably the toughest, most fit rider is. And so if you win at this event, typically it sets you up well towards a championship run. I really look forward to having a good race, and Daytona has had some classic battles that are really, really interesting. And then, of course, I just want them to be safe.
It's changed a lot. Back in our days, we only had like 4 or 5 inches of travel, and nowadays they got like 15 inches of travel. Bikes got 80 horsepower. Back in our days, we had 25 horsepower. Everything's changed a lot. Tracks are always groomed for these guys. Back in our days, tracks wasn't really groomed. It was like all rough, big ruts and rocks and everything. It was like really natural motocross, where now the guys are like, it's almost paved for them, And then if it gets a little rutty, they get out there and they grade the tracks for them and all that. And it's a big change, and I wish I was 50 years younger.
You'd still be racing, huh?
That's right, I would be doing.
This is my 22nd year, and it's actually my final season as a professional racer. So
wow.
This makes Daytona a little more special. It's always been a unique race for me. I've won here 3 times. I love coming here, so to come here for the final time is really special.
Absolutely. So talk about, 22 years is a long time. Talk a little bit about how you see the race evolve over the years.
Yeah, I've seen it evolve from the very beginning of where we used to race in the daytime on 2 strokes, and then evolve to the nighttime now on 4 strokes and things like that. So a lot of things change, but for the most part, as a rider and as a racer, Daytona we always look at it as being a really difficult race. It's our longest race of the season, and makes it real challenging. But for me, that it breaks up our normal rhythm, and I love that. I love coming out here. Gets me excited to just think a little differently.
Congrats again on that win last year. That was an epic ending.
That's right. We've had good results here. We've won the last 3 out of 4, I believe. So trying to continue that success. For us, it's like such a cool event. It breaks up our season out of the normal stadium environments. Now we're in the big open track environment. So it's such a cool race. We love coming to Daytona.
And we've heard from some of the other riders that this track is by far the longest and probably the most challenging to kind of start off you guys' season. So kind of talk about how you navigate that normally, especially with your level of luck being able to dodge some of the crashes.
That's right. It's just different. The way it breaks down more of like our typical motocross track, so outdoor style. But then you still have the jumps in there, with it all. So even the lighting's a little bit different than our other typical races. So like I said, it's always a challenge, and you're trying to learn throughout the day and be the best rider you can. And that's what's so cool is it's not easy on anyone here.
Absolutely. And then lastly, for fans that are watching, are there any new tricks or any kind of new gear that they can expect to see tomorrow?
I think our start's going to be pretty wild. We go down now, and then we do kind of like a 360 and then onto the track. So that's something we don't normally have. So that's what we got this year. Start might be a little crazy.
Yeah, last year here, I was doing pretty good. I think I was in 7th, and had a little get off, ended up shattering my heel, and yeah, it was a long road back, but excited to be back here, excited to be racing again, and I'm looking for a little redemption.
Yeah, we've been hearing from a lot of the riders that the Daytona Supercross track is very unique in that it's kind of the toughest track. It's almost a proving ground of sorts. Do you agree with that?
Definitely so. It's in the deep sand. It's in, the middle of the most historic racing grounds you can be at. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's just the sand breaks down differently than any other dirt. It's and this track we have a little extra added on top too. So we get down and it gets rough and rutted, and it's definitely the most gnarly Supercross track I think out of all of them, just because it's so much like outdoors, and 20 minutes on this track is definitely going to test us to the best. So we'll see who prevails.
Riders here are getting their test rides in preparation for the Daytona Supercross tomorrow, Saturday, March 7th at 7 p.m. here at the Speedway. As we heard from a lot of these riders, this is the track that proves their skills. It's a tough track for them. It's a proving ground for them. And they say they love it here. They appreciate it. These guys get that change in terrain while also being in the middle of the historic place of racing right here at Daytona International Speedway. But stay tuned right here at FloridaNationalNews.com for our continuing coverage of Bike Week here at Daytona International Speedway. This is Mellissa Thomas.